Hi guys, this is the third portfolio of original art that I have, and I'll just get started on it. This is an Amazing Spider-Man 59 page by Takeshi Miyazawa. It's got the Spider Family on it, Silk and Julie Carpenter Spider-Woman, regular Spider-Woman, Spider-Gwen fighting the Sin Eater. Pencil only page, it turned out really good. This is an Amazing Spider-Man page by John Romita Jr. It's got Peter and Tombstone talking in a limo. I love John Romita's artwork, so. And his Lincoln is Tombstone is pretty kick butt. This is a page from my the Thor run by Esad Ribic and Jason Aaron. And this is the first appearance of Galactus the All-Devourer, the Black. This is when he gets infected by the Black Necro Sword and goes on a rampage. And this is his first appearance of it. This is when the Necro Sword takes over Galactus as he's dying. Pretty cool page. Next up is a Ryan Ottley Amazing Spider-Man page from Nick Spencer's run. This is Kindred talking to Mysterio and giving him a script for Mary Jane to be the star in. Just a cool page with a creepy villain and one of Spider-Man's original foes, Mysterio, and drawn by Ryan Ottley. This is a three-page spread or three-page origin of Superman from the Power Records comic book, drawn by Rick Buckler and inked by Dick Giordano, who signed the very bottom of them. I just love this page. I saw it came available, and Dick wanted to know if I wanted to buy all 3 pages, and I said sure, and so I did. So here's his parents putting him in the spaceship, the rocket, to send him on his way as the planet's getting destroyed. Next one is the rocket getting out of the atmosphere and the planet exploding. And then Superman explaining it to a kid what happened. Coming and crashing in Kansas. And then, of course, the appearance of Ma and Pa Kent picking up the baby Clark or Cal out of the rocket ship. Just 3 pages of his origin. And cool to have it done by in a power record, which I had a few power records, and this was one of them. So glad to own pages from that series, and it being the origin of Superman, it makes it icing on the cake. So this is a cool one. I have 3 pages by Mike Wieringo, pencil pages, of this specific page. He started drawing the page with this image up at the very top panel, and he just didn't like how it worked. So then he started drawing this panel, which he was going to replace the top panel on the prior page and then keep the 2 at the very bottom. But then he changed his mind again and went with this layout, which is what was published in the book. So this is the Fantastic 3 minus Ben Grimm, the Thing, and that's Ben's brother, and they're before the doors to heaven. So pretty cool page by an amazing artist, and just very sad that he's no longer with us still. Next up is a Mark Cicchetto Ultimate Spider-Man page. It's got Ben and J. Jonah Jameson in a sauna discussing what they're going to next do. I bought this from Marco at a Fan Expo Chicago last year, I believe. He signed and did a couple remarks in hardcovers for Daredevil, so pretty happy about that. This is a page from Marco Ferreira. This is the pencil page of, I own the pencils and the inks for this page. It's got the Sin Eater, and the people of New York are worried about the Sin Eater, and he's on this bus. And there's a nice panel with Spider-Man at the very bottom. And here it is inked. So just a beautiful page, and glad to own it. This is a page from Amazing Spider-Man as well. And that's this ends up being the reveal of this person is the original Hobgoblin. Just a cool page. Kumankolo was the artist on it, so glad to own it. And of course, I got lots of Spider-Man pages because I'm a huge fan of Spider-Man. He's my favorite character. And I love how this is drawn on a DC artboard. Next up is an Agents of Atlas page. It's got the whole team on it. An action shot with M11, the killer robot. Venus, Bob Grayson. M11 again, Derek Kanata, Ken Hale, the Gorilla Man. And of course, you've got Jimmy Woo. The only thing is this is before they found Namora. So, but yeah, just a cool action pages. Like I said, I owned a few pages from this run and still own a few pages. I owned quite more than that, and I just love that series. This is a beautiful page, pencil only page by Eddie Barrows of Superman. And this is when he's fighting the Dark Legion. That's the Dark Sun Boy. And it's Superboy Prime. And I love this bottom panel with him grinning because he doesn't know it, but behind him is Lois Lane repowered as Superwoman. So that was this is a pretty cool page, and glad to own it. And the pencils are so beautiful. You can see all the details in it, and you could go straight from pencil on his artwork because it's so detailed. But yeah, just a gorgeous page. This is kind of hard to see. It's a Brett Booth Titans page. It's got the Flash in it and Abracadabra. It's a beautiful pencil page, but the pencils were pretty light. And I believe he had this ink by Norm later. I think digital scan, but yeah, just a beautiful pencil page. I'm just sorry it just didn't reproduce better on the camera. This is a cover recreation by Greg Warrenchak of Web of Spider-Man issue number 1 cover. Charles Vest was the original artist on this, and he was kind enough to do a recreation, Greg was, and I love it. The next few pages, I think, are all cover recreations that I had done over the years by Greg. This is The Web of Spider-Man by Mike Zeck, cover from the Kraven the Last Hunt. I just love that cover, and I like how it turned out. It turned out really great. This is Amazing Fantasy 15 cover recreation. Of course, originally drawn by Jack Kirby. Greg does a great job with it, so I love getting cover recreations because I know I'll never be able to afford the regular ones, but this is another Ditko page, or this is a Ditko annual number 1 from Spider-Man by Greg Warrenchak again. Just a cool page. I love Steve's art, and I know I'll never own this original, but this at least gives me a reason to have a page or a recreation of it, and I love it. This is another recreation by Greg, Eric Larson. Eric lost a bunch of these pages and covers, and he had a house fire a long time ago, and he lost a bunch of his original artwork. So there's, I mean, I could have Eric recreate it, but he's really busy with Savage Dragon and other stuff. So I had Greg reproduce it, and it turned out wonderful. This is one of my favorite storylines. I loved when Greg was the artist, or Eric was the artist on Amazing Spider-Man and later Spider-Man. But another Larson, both of these Larson pages are covers. Another part of the Return of the Sinister Six, and just a cool page. And I love how he did an amazing job on all of them. So, and this of course is a Venom cover with Spider-Man in his mirror. It's a very famous cover. So yeah, just I know a lot of people don't like recreations, but I mean, I like looking at original art all the time, and this fits the bill for me. Another Larson page. This is when the Sandman was trying to be good, and all the Avengers are going after him. Just a great. Like I said, I liked Eric Larson as an artist during this time, and to get a recreation of it, and it looks just as great as the original. So this is a Marcos Martin recreation I had done. Marcos keeps all of his artwork. He doesn't sell it. Now that he pencils and inks himself. I do have a Marcos Martin page from a Batman, a Joker Last Laugh story that he did, but I love this cover when I saw it the first time, and Greg wanted to know if I had any ideas, and I said this cover, and it turned out beautiful. Just the mood and the weight, just a perfect page. And then these are two Marcos Martin pages, are cover recreations as well. He was going through the 50 years of Spider-Man and like poignant moments in it. And this is the death of Gwen Stacy, of course, and then all the different versions of Spider-Man throughout the years. You know, the Ben Reilly, the paper bag over his head Spider-Man, the six-armed Spider-Man. Just a cool bunch of images. Kane, of course. And this is my favorite panel or page from All-Star Superman. Superman just going through his regular day, and this girl's really having a hard time. And Superman just stops, takes time out of his day just to talk to her and tell her it's going to be okay. It's a perfect page, a powerful page. I love it. And Greg did a wonderful job recreating it. This is a cover 8 creation of Uncanny X-Men, or X-Men 205 at this time, because it didn't have the Uncanny on it. Barry Windsor Smith drew the original. I know I'll never own a page from this because one collector owns the whole issue and is never going to sell it. And this cover went up for auction a couple years ago, and I spoke to the guy that owns the cover, and he's not willing to sell it and never will. So I did the next best thing and got the cover recreation, and I love it. And to have this and look at it every day is just perfect. This is the opening page splash, or it's not the opening page, but it's the full page splash for Wounded Wolf, that Uncanny 205 or X-Men 205. And it's just beautiful. Barry Windsor Smith did a wonderful job. First comic book I ever owned, and I read my copy until the cover fell off and the pages were away from the staples. And it's one of the few comic books that I go to conventions and I look in the cheap boxes and I buy, if there's 4 copies there, I'll buy all 4 copies. I don't know why. Just sentimental, I guess. This is a David Mazzucchelli Daredevil Born Again cover. David owns a lot of his pages from that he inked and penciled himself. And I love this cover from Born Again. And so I had Greg recreate it, and it turned out beautiful. And then this, of course, Walt Simonson's the same way. He doesn't sell his original artwork, he keeps everything. There's a few pages out there, just again, when he didn't ink himself, but for the most part, he owns everything. And I love Teen Titans versus X-Men, the team up issue, and I love the cover, and Greg did a wonderful job with it. So yeah, very happy. Those are my cover recreations. And next up is a Michael Lark page from Amazing Spider-Man. This is when Peter had a roommate and Kane broke in there to get some clothes. This is during Grim Hunt. And this is the pencils for that page that Michael drew. And then his inker fills in the backgrounds and inks the drawings after he reproduces it in Blue Line. So I got both of them. These are Sean Phillips pages. He's famous for Ed Brubaker and his crime noir novels or books and other books, criminal and but this is a story from, or an issue from Tangled Web, double shot story where they're all meeting at the bar with no name. That's Craven's son, Alexei, the Vulture, and a masked man who ends up being Norman Osborn. And they're talking about how they each of them ruined Spider-Man's life. And this has got a great image of the Vulture flying overhead. And I love pages with the bar with no name. There's Dr. Octopus's arms up there. And here's another page from it. They're all sitting around the bar, and Dr. Octopus's arms and his head, and Stiltman, a rare Stiltman appearance. But just a cool page with them talking about how they ruined Spider-Man's life. And then, of course, Norman, at the very end, reveals himself, and he's like, I ruined his life. I killed the woman he loved. So kind of hard to beat. Another Stiltman appearance in Boomerang. Just a beautiful page. And Sean is an amazing artist, so glad to own 3 pages from this story. This is Steve Epting, famous for later on being the artist during Brubaker's run on Captain America. This is a Thunderbolts minus page. It's about Captain Victory. And in the Thunderbolts, it was revealed that the Thunderbolt heroes are supervillains in disguise. And Citizen V was Baron Zemo, the son of Baron Zemo, who was also Baron Zemo. But this guy that they captured is the original Citizen V, and him taking him out, Baron Zemo taking him out, and then co-opting his identity years and years later. This is a John Romita Jr. page from Amazing Spider-Man with RX, I think, a new villain that they created. He's able to transfer pain to another person. And this is after Norman Osborn dressed up as, or took over as Spider-Man and beat up the Shocker really, really bad. And Tombstone wondering what's going on because Peter or Spider-Man's not like that, and he wants to get to the bottom of it. So just a cool page with Tombstone again and some bad guys in the Shocker. I like Shocker. I'm sad to see that he's not. He was killed in a Spiral, but just a cool page by John Romita Jr., one of the best. The last 2 that are in here are a Feral print that a friend of mine, a girl that I work with at my work, Caitlin is her name, and she did this cover print for Tony that I gave to him at a Chicago, Tony Fleeks, at the Chicago show earlier this year, and he loved it. And she gave me 2 prints, one for him and one for Trish, and they both loved it. And he posted it online, so I'm glad. Caitlin's a great artist, and to see her do a series that I really like. Feral and Stray Dogs are just 2 great books by Tony and Trish and Tone. So yeah, just a beautiful print. And the last one is the Heroes Initiative had this It's a print, limited edition print. Mine's 133 out of 200. Signed by Jim Lee, and it's the cover for the DC vs. Marvel Omnibus. The variant cover of it. The original cover had a George Perez cover on it, but just a beautiful thing, and drawn by Jim Lee, and I was glad to pick it up from Hero Initiative, and the money goes to a good cause, because a lot of the creators from a long time ago didn't have health insurance and they needed help, and this is a way to get money to them. So of course I always do that. All right, thanks.